Before we get into the episode, I want to talk on seminars in 2026. Global Training Center provides a few seminars around the year, one of them being in Anaheim, California, which will happen in February. They will have tariff classification, importing procedures, international logistics, the practical real-world stuff you deal with every single day. The classes are small. The instructors are people who actually work in the space, and you walk away with materials you can use back at the office. So you can check it out down below. We'll link it. And let's go ahead and get into the episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Simply Trade News Roundup. I'm back, and I'm back in a new studio. So if you're watching, you'll see a little nice backdrop. You'll also see two more people with me, by the way, whom I'll introduce right now, because this is an interesting episode, because we're kind of reflecting on a conference we recently went to, which is the ICPA conference. It was the fall conference in Dallas, Texas, and lots happened. We kind of debriefed that already, I think, but there was one special thing that was going on, which we will discuss right now. But first, let me introduce. So first off, we have a special guest who has not been on, which is why I'm introducing him first. It's Jacob Boggs. Hi, Jacob. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. And then we have, she's been on the podcast multiple times. You guys should know her by now. And if you don't, then you will soon know her, because you are going to want to sign up for this. Elisabeth Sherrell. Hi, Elisabeth. Thank you so much.
Hey.
Elisabeth she leads the member engagement and events at ICPA. I feel like you do basically everything. I mean, you have a lot of great people and a great team, but you do so much at ICPA, and you kind of represent the entire organization, which is why I'm so grateful that you're on today.
Thank you.
And then you probably, so the listeners are probably wondering, why do I have someone who has never been on, who, is barely getting to know trade, and Elisabeth on? And you know what? That's a great question, and we'll get into that, and you'll love it, because there's so much opportunity here. Jacob is a recent scholarship recipient who attended the Dallas conference and is now aiming to build a career, I believe, in ITAR, right?
Correct.
Yes. So, Jacob, I want to start with you. You went to ICPA this year. Well, you went to the Dallas was it? See, I'm like already thinking we're in 2026. You went to the ICPA conference this year. It was a fall conference. And tell us, how did it happen? How did you make it to the ICPA conference? Because everything was paid for, and you got to learn so much for your future career and kind of step into the trade profession world. So tell us more about that.
Sure. So for the last couple of months, I've been on LinkedIn, just adding and networking as much as I can about the ITO space. And then that's when I reached Elisabeth, and we started talking a little bit, and she wanted to have a few calls with me. We talked a little bit about why I'm going into my ITO space and why I enjoy it and why I enjoy to learn about it. And she was like, "Oh, why don't you come to ICPA in Texas this October?" I was like, "That sounds cool." So she made me have a presentation to send to her board members. And it was about a 5-minute long presentation about my entire story of why I want to go into this. And I was approved. And then I went, and it was fantastic.
Okay, let me take a step back real quick.
Sure.
Why did you want to get into the ITAR space? Because I feel like you don't hear that a lot. I definitely have never heard it when I was in college. Hey, yeah, I want to step into the ITAR. I did not even know what ITAR is in college. So, and no one even taught me. So I'm wondering, how did you figure out the space of ITAR?
Sure. So let's see. I'll start with my first work job. I worked for the International Rescue Committee. It's all about human rights and getting refugees positions in America and for them to live in America. And I went through daily talking with these refugees about how they were involved in gun violence and how they lost their kids and stuff like that due to conflict. And I was thinking, like, how can we mitigate this process for not to let more refugees go through this? And so that's where I'm back to my graduate studies. And I am doing international security, and I'm focusing on the weapons trade to regulate guns and drones and missiles going into corrupted countries. And I was like, okay, what is regulation? Okay, that's ITO. And so that's how I got into the ITO space with the humanitarian perspective of going into it.
And do you think right now in college, do you learn a lot about that? So ICPA had an ITAR track, which was half of the week was basically dedicated to ITAR because it's becoming a huge space and people need to, stay up to par and educated. And Elisabeth can talk a little bit more about that right now. But for you, Jacob, when you came to the conference, you also got to learn about other trade compliance areas. But ITAR per se, did you learn new things that sparked, more interest in the field?
Sure. Yes, doing the whole classes, the lessons and learning, it was very in depth. I will say that. And there was a lot of stuff I just had no idea what was going on. But it helped me understand that there's a lot more to learn, and there's a lot more that makes me excited about ITER and learning about it, as well as talking to many people in this space. I feel like I've learned a lot more through the people than the lessons, but I know that I can always go back to the lessons to learn more about the details.
Yeah, and obviously you want to secure a future job. And how did that conference work for you in terms of networking, maybe finding companies that you could possibly work with in the future?
Sure. So during ICPA, they had lots of booths as well. So I could actually talk to the companies that work in that type of business. For example, Global Eyes was a great one.
Shout out.
And they were really good with talking with me about the whole ITAR compliance. And I learned a lot from them. And that made me become more secure, stable, and thought of going into this space due to Global Eyes.
Wow. So it seems like you're already connecting and talking to some companies that you could possibly work with, right?
Yes. And still today and throughout this next few months, I've been meeting with like KPMG, another shout out, or KYG Trade.
I love that. Should we just get a shout out to all of the sponsors because they're all incredible?
Yeah.
That is awesome. No, we in college you do have job fairs and stuff, but I just don't think that the trade world is fully in the college, field yet, or there's not much emphasis on trade, let's just say, because we have supply chain, we learn about supply chain, but there's not fully ITAR space or EAR. There's not import export. I don't hear that a lot in college. And so when you mentioned that right now, that's a great opportunity because finding jobs is hard nowadays. So the fact that you get the opportunity and get to learn everything on ITAR or, starting to learn about it, I think that's incredible. And you're really understanding that, certifications and continuing education is important. I kind of want to move over to Elisabeth now because Jake was a sponsorship recipient. Here we go with that word. And that's an opportunity you guys offer nowadays. But has it been around for a while or did this barely kick off to the way it is now?
It is. So, it's been around. We've had scholarships in the past. But the scholarships that we've offered historically are only for members and their children, like for anything. And I always joke, and it's like maybe not a joke, but I do joke about it that under basket weaving, right? And so there is an element that is lost as far as our core values for trade compliance development and professional development in this space when we're just giving away scholarships for any area of study, right? So we've been talking about it for quite some time. And one of the things that we discussed as an education committee committed to, furthering trade compliance as a profession was, well, how can we use this money that we've set aside for scholarships in a different way, in a new way? And one of the things that popped up was this opportunity was bringing someone actually to the event. And it's funny because Jake is not wrong. Like he literally just reached out to me on LinkedIn. And I just happened to answer. I don't answer those very often. So it was kind of it was all just lining up the way it was supposed to, right? Like I feel like it was so meant to be. And so he reaches out, he's telling me his story. And when I heard his story, I was just like, yes, this is it. This is how you want people to find their way to international trade so that they have that heart and that passion that we see in here we're going to go with another shout out with the Bonnie Kirsches of the world, the Jamie Adams of the world, the people who, when they talk about international trade compliance, their eyes light up to the point where if you're not into it, you're just like, oh, okay, kind of like I am about gaming, and gardening. I'm like, oh, let's talk about plants, or Fallout, So for me, I knew immediately that he was serious about this. And I felt like if we could get him in front of these people that come to our events, this family of trade nerds, I just knew something would happen, right? Like I just anticipated exactly what he just told you happened. So the evolution of the scholarship becomes one where we said, let's just do this. So I went to the board and I said, let's make sure we can bring somebody here. And we came up with the money. We used some of the funds for that. And then it kind of just manifested from there. Everything lined up, and we were able to not only bring him here for the whole week, but pay for his hotel, some of his meals, and it just worked out. And I think his experience is exactly what we were looking for, and we just hope to continue. That doesn't mean I want people to know that doesn't mean that we're not going to not give scholarships to your children anymore for underwater basket weaving, right? We're not saying we won't do that. It is simply that we're going to expand what we're offering to include bringing these college kids to our events so that they can experience, because I think he's right. I think that one of the most important aspects of what we do is networking for us, right? That's a huge pillar. It's not just the education, it's the networking piece, right? Because how else do you get to know these people? He would have never probably been in touch with Global Eyes had it not been for this event. So,
And there's two things. So obviously we get I feel like more trade professionals listen to our podcast than non-trade professionals, as in, Jacob, because they just don't know about it in college. So I'm thinking, one of the things why it is so great to have you two on is that, one, I want to get college students that are interested in trade to listen to this podcast and see that there's opportunity, what happened to you. And maybe, if thousands of students now reach out to Elizabeth's going to be like, whoa, I can give you guys all a scholarship.
We're putting something in place. Like I told Jake, like there's going to have to be, he set the bar high, like he did an interview video. So,
yes.
It's not just come because we want you there. You have to earn it. And he did.
Exactly. So. But obviously there is opportunity. So You're not lost. And second, we do get a lot of business owners and trade professionals listening, and you're talking about funds for these people. Mm-hmm. And I'm just wondering how, is there an opportunity for people to fund for that? Because I know a lot of businesses like to invest in college students coming to the industry, because one of the biggest things people talk about is that they don't want people to come into this industry accidentally anymore, them to come in intentionally, just like Jacob. So how do you do that? Well, by providing these opportunities, like how you're doing it, you're setting the bar. But how can these businesses or people help you per se, or help ICPA, bring these people? Like, is there an opportunity for them, or how are you creating those funds for the students?
Well, there is. We already have that amount set aside that we have been doing for over a decade now, that my mom, Ann, was a big part of. I believe Linda also helped her with that early on. I think this was something they've been doing for quite some time. So we already have our money set aside, but yes, so we would love to partner with some of these companies, and some of the ones that he mentioned are strategic partners with us anyway. Off the top of my head, I think about the companies that are just involved in every single event and helping us with our mission and our vision is, like you said, KPMG, MIC, obviously Global Trade. You guys have been there for us so much. The charters, the Alliance drawbacks, there's people that have really become like family. And so for those people that are really, I believe, invested in trade, right? They're not just some company that's coming in looking for the next client. They're looking for the next connection. And there's a difference there, right? And so if you understand that, then ICPA is valuable. And then maybe you want to invest in this too. Yes, we're absolutely going to have something in the future where we can say this, Jacob was sponsored by this particular company, right? Because here's the thing. One of the things my mom was really big on, and I think a lot of people know my mom, but my mom's Ann Lister, one of the co-founders. And one of the things she was really big on was Disney, right? And Disney has this whole program. And you know this, Annik, because you're in marketing too, and I was in marketing too. It's like, how do you create a brand evangelist? You start with that very first interaction. So Disney brings people onto their campus, and they do they actually come to your college, because they did to me, and they talk about how wonderful they are. And then they, there's these steps that you go in, and you become indoctrinated. And basically you're in the Disney cult, right? And so that's what we're trying to do. We're getting these kids in the cult. And so, I mean, for lack of a better term, we are. It's a trade cult, and we're indoctrinating them because the vision and mission of this committee is our dear President Jim Ervin said it best. He really did, and I took it and ran with it. We want to make trade compliance a visible and viable career path. Envision myself in 3 to 5 years going into one of my daughter's elementaries and talking about international trade compliance. You're going to have, your police officer and your firemen on career day, and then you're going to have a trade nerd. And so that is the vision, is because this is not just a lucrative career path. It's one where I find most of the people connected to it are extremely passionate about it, right? And they move in all these different ways. Like you ask Bonnie Kirsch about her evolution, Lila Landis, same thing. I mean, they have the origin story is incredible, right? I stayed too late at work one day. I happened to be the one that spoke Spanish and the bill of lading was written in Spanish. That's Lila Landis's origin story, right? How did you fall into trade compliance? And it's not that those aren't great stories, but Jake's going to have a passion and a heart for this because of how he came here. He's going to love this industry. He's not just going to love this industry. He's going to love it ethically. And at the core of trade compliance is ethics, right? So his heart is in a different place. And so he's I've kind of leaned on him a lot because he's the model, the poster child, right? And so I'm going to ask him, how was it? Yeah. And it was great. Like, I thought I was going to have to baby this kid when he got here. I thought, okay, I got to stay with him. And I knew how hard that was going to be as an event planner, right? And then the chaos of my mom passing. And then I knew, oh my God, I'm going to even more stress. Nope. Jake had it. I didn't even see him. He was out having dinner with people, going to business. But that I need to get that at some point, what he did, those strategies, I need to get that from him too, because Annik, you could go to college and if you can't talk to people, you're not going to have the same experience as he did. You're just not, right? So
you're so right. But you're also setting an environment up for success because you're giving him a very open space, like open-minded people, very, open in discussing things and talking to people, not just, people that are upper level or whatever. They want to talk to everyone, and because honestly, every single person in trade just wants to help other trade partners and say, hey, what are you doing? How can we do this better? How can we help you? How can we connect? How can we do this together? That way, we both don't make mistakes. And I think that is the environment he steps into. And then obviously bringing his skills into the setting. And it just happens to be amazing. And, the world runs on trade, unfortunately. And there's just, firemen save the world and policemen save other people. And without trade, you also can't live.
Yes, I remember what happened in Long Beach on Christmas after COVID. I mean, people were freaking out because they don't understand on a day-to-day basis. I mean, myself included, I get on my phone and I dial it up on Amazon, and heaven forbid it take more than 12 hours to get to me. I'm like, where was it? Like, right. Why? And so we forget that there's these cargo ships and there's important stuff going on to screen, making sure that it's coming in. And so, I was talking to a lady from Glasgow this morning from the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And what's really cool about trade right now is, politics aside, the actions that the Trump administration has taken has diversified trade and in some good ways. I mean, it's made it very hard. I know, and I'm not in the space, and I know how hard it is for these people right now, but it's opening up new opportunities globally for trade, to trade with different partners. And I mean, I think that was the key from Brussels, right? Diversity of trade. And I get excited about those kind of things. Global disruptions, like COVID. We say COVID was this terrible thing, and it really was, but we wouldn't be as far along in a lot of things if it hadn't been. I don't think we'd be as far ahead in the delivery of goods to our doorstep with a click. COVID forced us out of our comfort zone, and I think this whole thing is too. Exciting time for you to enter the trade atmosphere. It's gonna be a challenge, but it's a cool time, I think. So
go
ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say that I really enjoy the chaos of it all. That's what excites me the most.
Right. Yes. That honestly, it is the most exciting, because sometimes this is also so bad. I know where you're coming from, Elisabeth, when you're saying all those things, because I say whatever's happening right now is the best thing that's happening to us, because we get to talk about it. What if there's nothing going on? I don't get to talk about anything. Yeah, but again, terrible thing. Lots of people are struggling, working late hours, and that is, I don't know how to figure it out, but I mean, we're all becoming smarter here. We're all getting smarter. We're all becoming more diversified. We're stepping out of our comfort zone, which is a good thing. Obviously, I'm not discussing the bad thing right now. I'm looking at the positive sides. Okay, I
Right.
know there's
Me
negative.
too. Yes. Yes.
But nevertheless, I just want to touch on the upcoming conference, just because we
Sure.
want to let people know. I do get questions on LinkedIn quite a lot, and they say, "Hey, I heard the discussion, and I'm going to come next ICPA. Oh, I haven't been to ICPA in years. Now I'm going to come back because I see they're doing so much different stuff." And I'm like, "Hello, where have you been? Let's go. We'll all be there." So whether you're a student or
Right.
or a trade professional, of course, we want you at the upcoming ICPA conference. But talk a little bit more about it. When is it coming up?
Yeah.
Where? And is there anything you're excited for? That's it.
So it is March 1st through the 4th of 2026, obviously.
Okay.
And it's going to be in San Antonio, Texas this year, which I love because I'm a Texan. And I think that San Antonio is one of the most magical places in Texas, maybe in our country. It's got the River Walk, and it's got this huge Hispanic culture that's just really beautiful, and it's so well woven into the city itself. And so we're going to do a fiesta of compliance. Of course, we always have a theme, and that's what makes I think that's what sets us apart sometimes. And it can be jarring if it's your first ICPA event to see the silliness and the fun that can go on, but that was something that Anne and Linda wanted from the very beginning. They wanted it to be fun because you can learn anywhere, but it's easier to learn and capture these things when you're in a more relaxed environment. It truly is, especially making connections. I think that is easier to do when you're more relaxed. I'm excited this year because we have a new track, which means 7 tracks, which that part stresses me out. That's taken me out of my comfort zone because now we're wrangling so many more speakers and so many more logistics on how do you get people close to the main exhibit hall, close to the booths, close to dinner, but also they don't have to walk too terribly far for sessions. But it's called Global Perspectives.
Oh,
And
I love that.
yeah, it's great. We've always had some global topics, but what I love about it specifically is we've got some really great experts. Sabrina Bandali from Bennett Jones and Kolya Mandel are leading it and kind of controlling it and making sure the content truly is from a global perspective. And so they're so passionate about their respective countries, Canada and being in Europe, based in Europe, that I'm excited about that track. I really am. I think it's going to elevate and set us apart even further. And so, full disclosure, I'm terrified. Personally, this is the first event that's really all on my shoulders since my mom's passing. And so, she's been letting me do so much for so many years, but I just kind of expected that even when she decided to take that step back like she did this summer, that there was, I could always had the bat line, right? Like I call her, Mom, hey, this and that. And so that is really, really scary for me. And it's a huge challenge and a huge opportunity at the same time. And so there's just a lot of emotions going on with it. There's a lot of pressure, and I feel it. And I know we're doing our best to honor her as well. We'll do a little, another memorial for her at that event. That's another big part of it because none of us would be here without her and Lyndon. So, we just really need to do that. We really need to pay tribute to everything that she created.
And I think that's what makes it so special and amazing and just a fully rounded conference. And obviously, how much we appreciate what you do. And I feel like, while your mom was amazing and I know she did so much, but I feel like you are capable. You can do it. And we're very excited and you're doing so much. And I know your daughter, Victoria, is helping you. So
yes.
So that's another great step, and she has great ideas, and it's becoming, we're getting the youth to come into
I was just going to say that. She has young ideas, right? Like, that's so important. I'm just like, I love watching you two at an event. I'm like, just go and do. Thank you. I don't even want to know what y'all are doing half the time. So.
And I'm glad that Jacob gets to experience all this. Obviously, I mean, you missed out a little bit, Jacob, on the ones before as well. But now, I mean, you're stepping into a whole new ICPA world, which is just incredible. And I hope so many more of young Jacob Boggs get to walk the A and get to find jobs. I mean, that's incredible. He's still talking to these people. That's amazing. And I love that. And I'm glad we got to do this this roundup just because people need to know about this and it'll spark other ideas. I already know there will people will come forward with more ideas and hopefully come to you, Elisabeth, or reach out to Jacob because if you're terrified and if you're a student, the best way is probably to reach out to someone who is kind of in the same position as you, but taking those steps already.
Yeah, and I'm happy to talk to anyone as well.
Yeah, and we'll put your information down below. Obviously, Elisabeth, ICPA and stuff will be down below. And Jacob, your LinkedIn will be tagged down below so people can reach out to you. And other than that, I want to thank you both so much for coming on and sharing all those stories. And we can't wait for the upcoming ICPA conferences.
Yes.
That'll be so fun. I'm so excited. And this is a big one.
This is a big one. It's gonna be a good time. We're gonna have fun. I'm gonna try to get Jake there any way that I can. And then I think again, like you said, if there's students that want to connect with him, connect there because Jack Chapman will be there. He just graduated a little bit further down the road, and they're both under 30, and so there is a group of under 30 trade compliance people that are starting to build, and that's really cool to me. That's legacy, and I love it.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you so much, you guys. And I hope you have we're recording on a Thursday. This comes out on a Monday. And so you guys, I hope you incredible weekend. For the ones listening, I hope you have a great start to your week. And the holidays are coming right up. So be prepared and just stay calm, really. That's all we can do.
Yes,
and just know that trade makes the world go round.
It does. I love that. All right.
It does. All right. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
You as well.